Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to demystify the entire generative AI ecosystem. We're talking everything from a simple prompt all the way up to agents that can think for themselves. Let's make it simple. All right, we're going to tackle this in 4 quick parts. We'll start with how we even talk to AI, then get into the toolkits for building with it, look at how we make it smarter, and finish up with how it can create and act on its own. Okay, let's jump right in. Section 1, starting the conversation. You know, it all boils down to how we interact with AI, and it really does start with a simple conversation. So the big question is, how do you even talk to an AI? I mean, how do you give it instructions and actually get it to do what you want? Well, the answer is something called a prompt. It's basically just the instruction you feed into a large language model. That's the brain behind the whole operation. It could be a simple question or something way more complex. And you know what? There's a whole art and science to this. It's called prompt engineering. And it's super important because the better your prompt, the better the AI's answer. It's really that simple. Garbage in, garbage out. And just look at the range here. You can ask it to write a poem, help you code, come up with a recipe, or even solve a city's water shortage. It's incredible. What you've got to remember is this. A great prompt can turn the AI into whatever you need it to be. A poet, a programmer, you name it. All right, so prompts are the starting point, but that's just a one-off conversation, right? So how do we go from that to building a real working application? That's what our next section is all about, the AI Application Toolkit. Well, that's where something called LangChain comes into play. Think of it like a toolbox for developers. It helps you connect all the different AI pieces, prompts, memory, other tools, and chain them together into one seamless application. Let's make this real. Imagine you're building a restaurant assistant. You just type in, say, Italian, New York, moderate price. LangChain takes that, plugs it into a pre-made sentence, fires it off to the AI, and boom, you get a recommendation like Tony's Italian restaurant. It just makes the whole thing work automatically. Okay, but for an app to be really smart, it needs a memory, right? It can't just forget everything. That's what a vector database is for. It's a special kind of database that works like a brain's memory, letting the AI quickly find and pull up relevant info. It's absolutely key for making these apps useful. So we've got the building blocks. Now for the fun part. How do we take these AI systems and make them even smarter? Let's get into how we can seriously upgrade their capabilities. First up is a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. The easiest way to think about RAG is like giving the AI a live connection to the internet or a massive up-to-date library. So before it answers you, it can go look things up and pull in the latest information. No more stale, outdated answers. And here's why that matters. Look at this example. Without RAG, you might ask about your order and then give the order ID in the next message, and the bot is totally lost. It doesn't connect the two. But with RAG, it has that context. It remembers what you just said and uses that new piece of info to give you the right answer. It's the difference between a frustrating, forgetful bot and one that actually helps. Okay, the other big method for making AI smarter is fine-tuning. Imagine you have a brilliant, all-around genius AI. Fine-tuning is like sending that genius to med school or law school. You take that general model and train it on a very specific set of data to turn it into a specialist, an expert in one particular field. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, look at these numbers. These models have billions, sometimes hundreds of billions of parameters. Think of parameters as tiny little dials that control what the AI knows. Building one of these from the ground up is insanely expensive. That's what makes fine-tuning such a game changer. You don't have to start from scratch. You just tweak some of those dials to get a specialized expert, which is way, way more efficient. Okay, so far we've talked about AI understanding and responding. But the real frontier, where things get really wild, is when AI starts creating things and acting on its own. Let's look at the cutting edge. When it comes to creating things, we have what are called diffusion models. These are the magic behind those incredible AI-generated images you see everywhere. It's a crazy process. They literally start with a screen full of random noise, like TV static, and then they slowly, step by step, refine it into a beautiful, coherent image. It's like an artist finding a masterpiece inside a chaotic scribble. And look at this. We're right back where we started. It all comes down to the prompt. To get an amazing AI video like the one described here, you need a rich, detailed prompt that paints a picture with words. This is what guides the AI. It proves once again that the quality of what you get out is completely dependent on the quality of what you put in. But here's the next giant leap. What if the AI didn't just create something for you, but actually did something for you? That's the idea behind AI agents. We're talking about autonomous systems that don't just chat. They perform tasks, they make decisions, and they get things done in the real world. So how does an agent work? It's a really powerful three-step loop. First, it reasons. It looks at a problem and makes a plan. Second, it acts. It uses tools like your calendar or a web browser to actually execute that plan. And third, it has a memory, so it learns from what it did to get better next time. It's that simple. Reason, act, and remember. And that brings us to this powerful quote from Stephen Hawking. It really puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? As this technology gets more and more powerful, the stakes get higher. From a simple text prompt to a fully autonomous agent, we're building something that could be truly incredible or something else entirely. It's a reminder of both the amazing potential and the huge responsibility we all have.